Hey guys, Adrian here, Kid Guru, and I wanted to shoot this video today. It's a little bit different, but like I said, I'm trying to mix it up on the channel. And this was a little fun one for me to shoot and put together. These are the 5 Twitter personalities that you will encounter on the World Wide Web, according to myself. I'm sure there's tons of others, and maybe you have your own, and you can drop those in the comments below at the end of this video. Nonetheless, I have been a huge proponent of social media since I started on the web. It's a great way to interact, share your content, all this stuff. And I've been a huge fan of Twitter since I joined in 2008. And it's kind of hard to say, like, oh, people are using social media wrong, because I guess there's technically not a really wrong way to use it. There is a lot of bad ways, and that's what I'm going to categorize today. So with that, here are the top, or here are not the top, no rank, but the 5 Twitter personalities you will encounter on the web. Number 1, the Oversharer. Pretty self-explanatory. These are the people who find a way to cram their life story multiple times in a day in 140 characters or less, which in itself is pretty, that's pretty cool that you can cram that down, but I don't, it's still, sharing too much, there's a line, and that also goes into the kind of like if you're sharing like risky, all this kind of crazy stuff like pictures and I don't know, crazy stuff on Twitter, like, hey, you're totally obligated, but don't forget that the internet is written in pen, and someday that can come back to bite you in the ass. Number 2, the retweeter. This is essentially the person who just retweets a whole bunch of stuff. And I mean, if it's cool that you want to retweet stuff and share it with your followers, but understand that does go out to your followers, and you can favorite the stuff. There's this little star icon if you just want to save stuff. But like half the people I see retweet, this is the thing, half of them retweet fact accounts. Half of those people who retweet fact accounts retweet facts that are not even true or legitimate, so like they look weird in retweeting it. They don't take the time to like verify it, so that's a thing. And then the other half follows these accounts like, I don't know, at horny123. I don't know, like totally crazy, these weird tips accounts and stuff like that. And they retweet what they're saying just because they don't want to say it themselves and look as bad. So if you're an adolescent teen or something and you're feeling a little promiscuous and you don't want to look bad, go follow one of those accounts and retweet them. Pro Twitter tip. Number 3, what is spell checks? Now, everybody has this person on your timeline. This is the person who feels that they're not obligated or doesn't understand what the red squiggly line under words mean. So they just look at it and they're like, yeah, that looks right, and tweet it. I mean, despite the fact that you can right click and, God forbid, have the computer spell the word for you, I guess that's just not an option. That's also going into account that these are the people who sometimes use an over excessive load of hashtag, and I just got Popeyes, hashtag YOLO, hashtag swag, hashtag turn, hashtag eating good, hashtag Popeyes. Number 4, the SEO D-bag, aka social media expert. Now I know this may offend people because that's your job title. I don't mean specifically that. I think if you have in your bio social media expert, I'm highly questioning your social media expertise. Like really, that just sounds really bad. And like if you are tweeting automated stuff more than you are like regular stuff, there's a problem there too. Simply what I mean by this, when it comes to SEO, yes, there's marketing and all that stuff, but you make good content, it gets shared out there. If it's good content, people will enjoy it. But if you're calling yourself like a social media expert, that just doesn't sound right at all. Number 5, last but not least, this is a new breed of Twitter user out there, and I recently just discovered this. The Subtweeter also falls into the genre of the drama kings and queens, because I really think that's the only time you use this sort of form of tweeting that people are calling subtweeting. Again, God forbid people use the at reply if they're talking about people, but subtweeting is when you refer to somebody and not at reply them in a sense. Now, this is different. If you're referring to a group of people or somebody maybe who's not on Twitter or just like a famous person, I don't know, that's cool, you can do that. But if you were referring to somebody specifically, like when I see this back and forth conversation of people, that's why I say drama kings and queens, of people talking in my Twitter timeline, and I know they're talking to each other and they know they're talking to each other, like one, either use the at thing and man up, like stop like being such a about it. But like honestly, I think the cardinal rule of the internet, don't argue on the internet, because you end up losing either way because you look like an idiot doing it in public. Now there's difference between arguing for something that's like factual and actually makes sense to like, I don't know, argue about, but when you're just, it's like total BS about like, oh, this person at school and how I hate this person and that much and this much, like you just look stupid. Okay, so I think that about wraps it up. Yeah. So the moral of the story in this case is careful of who you follow, I guess, on Twitter, and because I guess that's the real problem of who you follow overall. If you encounter these personalities, or maybe you are in that case one of these personalities, and in that case, first off, $2 for the Tweetbot application on iOS. You can mute people and you still follow them. So it's a win-win situation if you're afraid of that case. Definitely worth the $2. But in the case that you are one of these personalities, a couple tips for these. First off, the overshare. Hey, you know, there's this fine line between private and personal and all of that, and it's great to share a lot of stuff. I share a lot of stuff out there on the internet. I'm very open, but at the same time, you know, have time for solitude. Get a blog, you know, get a blog. There's these crazy things called blogs like Tumblr and WordPress where you can write all you want and you can link off to it on your Twitter. And if people truly care about you, then they'll click it there and they'll go read the stuff, you know, that you're talking about. Number 2, the retweeter. Like I said, there's a favorite button. You can use that if you just want to save stuff that you think is really cool and stuff like that. But I mean, if you feel like it's relevant to tweet out to your followers, or it's something that you really support, or it's a cool quote, by all means, but try to space it out. Number 3, what is spell checks? I think that's pretty self-explanatory, right? Click the goddamn word and then correct the freaking spelling. Number 4, if you're a social media expert or an SEO in some form or the other, just, I mean, like, think about how you, like, if you're calling yourself a social media expert, that just really sounds bad, and it sounds to me like you don't understand the scope of social media. Last but not least, the subtweeter. @reply the person. 2, don't even say stupid shit on the internet. Thanks for watching.